So in this week's video, we're going to see what's back. But first, we're going to talk about how you should conduct yourself when you go to koi shows. For example, you shouldn't walk behind scenes even if there's no physical barrier, gate or signage. Apparently it breaches security, biosecurity of the show. And these areas should not be accessible to people who pay their £10 to get in and wander around the front of house. What you should also be very aware of is pointing your camera into the vats, be it showfish or the fish for sale. You should also be very aware that you could be causing or breaching biosecurity. I personally don't know what that is, but apparently you could be breaching that. And I'll post a really good example of what not to do from the Yorkshire division of the same Koi Society in the description below. Now, unfortunately, I learned these rules after I'd been to the show, and some of you may have seen the video I posted on my visit to the Koi show in Coventry, and following from that, the chairman and other members, I believe, of the same Koi Society posted some interesting comments on that video and subsequently banned me or said they didn't want to see me at any further shows. So that's a shame. Gonna miss the people. Gonna miss the oatcake giveaways. But what can you do? If that's a punishment for doing what I did, but I did some of those that I've just explained.
How dare you!
I'm unable to go to any more shows now. Such is life. And some of those comments that were sent in from what I believe was members of the Koi Society. Don't forget, what you post online stays online. So I just want to say thanks very much to everybody I met in the shows and everybody that worked at the shows. I've had some good comments of people that were working at the show actually inviting me, which is interesting, to go round the show and see it officially in the background and the fore and see how all the show works. So for that person, thanks very much for the offer, but unfortunately I'll have to decline now as your chairman doesn't want me at any more. So for any other YouTubers or anybody out there filming the fish, be real careful, because one of the comments I received was a little bit OTT with what that person was willing to do should he catch anybody sticking a camera over his vat of fish. So I'm thinking maybe it would be better if it's advertised as you walk in, be it on a ticket, on signage, wherever it may be, of the areas you can go and you can't go. The areas you can't go, maybe there's a small barrier to say you can't go in here, and also how we, or how you, because I can't go there anymore, is how you will be able to take pictures. So of the thousands of people that watch my videos, if Mr. Chairman from that Koi Society is watching, please educate us, or educate those that can go now. Because if you educate us, or those who can still go, then maybe it won't happen again. Now I've taken said video down, because if I can't film at the shows, then I can no longer give them the free advertising and free publicity that a lot of our YouTube community does for the Koi Societies. So taking that video down because I'm told that I can no longer film, which means I can no longer provide them with the free advertising and the free publicity of any future shows. So let's crack on with today's video. In this week's video, it's back. Costia. If you remember back in, I think it was April, the pond was riddled with Costia. Dosed it over 3 weeks with formalin and then malachite green. So I used one of those 3 times and these 3 times. Interesting, because I thought I'd got rid of that, and then we had the issue with the pH. So this time I'm going to keep an eye on the pH, because I'm not going to let that take over this time. So I'm going to keep an eye on the pH. We've got to dose the pond, because I took one of the fish out. Fish were flashing around all over the place. I was like, what the hell's going on here? Okay, weather had changed a little bit, gone a little bit warmer, a bit colder. It was raining. It was, you know, the temperatures are all over the place. So I thought I'd just keep an eye on them, because if temperature changes, sometimes my fish don't like that. And it seemed to be after a feed as well. So okay, maybe a bit of food's getting stuck in the gills, rubbing for that, don't know. So I kept an eye on it, and one particular fish, no, 2 actually, OJ and Sid, they were both kind of flashing around quite a lot, and I thought, I can't leave this much longer. I'm gonna have to look. So pulled Sid out and scraped Sid, and there they were, little commas running around in the water. When I look for Costia, I always do the scrape, put this mucus on the on the plate, and then pop a little water in, and then look at the water on the outside, and you find Costia usually are swimming round and round in circles all over the place in the water on the outside. It's very rare you find them in the mucus. It's usually in the water on the outside. So today we're going to get the formalin in first. You can get these mixed together, the formalin and malachite green in one tub, and do them both together. But I've done them separately for the last couple of applications, because I find that kind of works for me. One thing you need to be aware of when you use the formalin is, if you've had it for a while, just pour a little bit out into the jug before you start using it. And if it's crystallized, don't use it, because it becomes something different, which isn't good for the fish. So if you have any of this stuff which is either cloudy and or crystallized in the bin, get yourself a new one. I'm not sure about that. I don't think there's any differences with the malachite green. 1%, but so yeah, I need another one of these actually. I'm gonna have to dose this. This only got 1 and a bit dosing, so I'm gonna have to pop over to Steve's and pick up another tub of this, because I'm nearly out of this one now, and I've got another 2 or 2 weeks of this once this has gone in today. So let's get one mixed up. I think the formalin we'll do first, then we'll put the malachite green in. Quick session, get them in, and away we go. So last dose has gone in now. Looking pretty good, pond is. Fish are looking a lot happier, so I think we might have nailed a bit of this, but we'll know in the next few days, couple of days away. There is loads of other parasites you can get, but Costia is probably the smallest to find. You need a really good magnification on your microscope to be able to see Costia. I'll put something here, or something as I'm talking now. I'll show you there's lots and lots of other different types of parasite that you can see now. And again, so if you want to pause this video just for a couple of seconds to have a quick look there and zoom in and out. And also what I'll do is I'll post this in the community tab as well, so you can see that, and it gives you an idea of what it is, what it looks like, and what the magnification needs to be able to see it on your screens. Now, one thing I didn't point out when I was starting this dosing for Costia is, for all doses, I always put my floating skimmer. I always turn my floating skimmer on for 2 reasons. First of all, it has an oxygen supply through it, so it's blowing air into the pond continuously. So that's another air source, which is always good to just make sure you get plenty of air in to the koi when you're putting in treatments. The other one is it also starts to pull through the water that has the treatment in. So it also makes sure that all the treatment is going through my skimmer and treating that as well. And to be honest, sometimes it helps it clear a little bit better if there's a colour in it, or if there's a milky substance from the treatment. So I always run that, not 24 hours a day. I usually run it for a few hours each day, just to make sure that there's plenty of air circulation is the main one. Pond settled down a little bit. Fish seem a little bit happier. Again, no more sulking around. So fingers crossed that we've nailed the next dose of Costia. Water clarity is going to take me a little while to get back, because I've had no UV on for almost 3 weeks now. So that's going to be interesting, even though we've had a lot of rain. When the sun is out, you know, and I've got an uncovered pond, it's started to build up the green algae. So I can only see sort of halfway into the pond now. So I'm really looking forward to getting the UV back on and getting the clarity back up to where it should be in the pond. So the next few days I'm going to give the filters a quick wash through, do a water change, and then hopefully, fingers crossed, we're back to normal again. Now, somebody was asking about if I'd ever used potassium permanganate or PP. Yes, I have. Yeah, it's quite a harsh treatment to give the pond and your fish. but it is effective on some parasites. It does kill a lot of things in your pond, and if you don't keep an eye on your pond and it starts stripping your pond of oxygen, which it is well known to do, if you don't act quickly by neutralizing it with hydrogen peroxide, then all your fish will die, because it is very good at stripping your ponds of oxygen. So I always make sure that everything's turned on, as much oxygen as possible is going into the pond, and I keep an eye on it, and I don't go anywhere for 4 hours while I sit glued watching the pond. But if you want to see a video of how I last did my potassium permanganate, click the video here, and if you've not subscribed, by all means please click the subscribe button down there. Please like, share to all your friends. Thanks very much for watching. Good Pond Lifestyle.